only be born the day that individual is respected in his rebellion. Osho. It's the homie Lao Su. Welcome to this live stream. I found myself, as I was falling asleep, thinking a lot about busking, just excited to really just sit with the reality that, since being a YouTuber full time and since really just diving deep in this YouTube paradigm and doing these frequent performances, I've noticed that I think, invariably, my ability to perform music has just greatly increased, just naturally. Obviously, for playing guitar multiple hours a day, eventually you get fluent at performing and doing improv, which is part of what I love about doing these streams. But as it is, it kind of just struck me. I was like, word. Once it gets sunny, once the weather becomes more rich and beautiful, I very much can just go at any given time, just go down the hill, go into my community, go into the local park, and just rock out, just set up a beautiful setup and just create a performance. And I'm really excited to do that. I feel like it's such an easy, organic experience that I'm looking forward to diving deep into. Yes, sir. Nobody has the power to take two steps together. You only take one step at a time. Osho. I have no idea how to perform Nirvana, but I love Nirvana. Shout out Nirvana. Shout out Kurt Cobain. But yeah. Let's see if I can lower this backtrack, kind of plug ourselves in. You guys are having an awesome day so far. Letting yourself just be rooted within your somatic body, just giving yourself presence. This is sort of a very core thing, I think, that we often just kind of disregard, or unconsciously we're programmed to just desire something different, or we don't really understand the extraordinary value of just being with our presence, with ourself, just honoring that. What's good? Welcome, Ocean. Nirvana lover. Checks out, bro. There's lots to love, honestly. There's so much to love in Nirvana. I was actually at the gym the other day, and there was Smells Like Teen Spirit pops on. And I hadn't listened to that song, honestly, in probably a year, but it just the absolute grit, and then just the organic flow of what, Kurt Cobain's voice and the whole song, the whole structure of the song. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I think we're gonna entertain some sounds of the birds and the river. Very quietly, just Andrew introduce this atmosphere. Now, I find what's interesting, among various things, is in the context of being a streamer, doing a stream, right? I feel, what I find is very valuable and very powerful is continuously, it's a reminder to almost like honor your intuition, honor what is intuitively flowing through, whether it's the words you desire to express or the way you desire to connect, especially as a streamer, a facilitator, right? It's like at any given moment, there's such a myriad of things that I can choose to engage in. Whether it's just musically, I'm desiring to perform something or engage in something. Thoughts about kangaroo. Damn, bro. We have some profound truths just dropping in. Thoughts about kangaroos. Brother, I love kangaroos. Personally, why I love kangaroos, like tenfold, is because I love Australian culture, Australian people. Like, I say this actually openly. So it's for some reason I've been very drawn to Australian culture, just their lingo, their energy. I would love to visit Australia. I actually there's a creator. Her name's Esme. That's her moniker. She's like a small creator like myself, but really phenomenal human being. She's very philosophical, very well spoken, and we're actually gonna do a collaboration in the future. And she's from Australia. Kind of reaffirms my appreciation. She shows like beautiful ocean views when she goes to Australia and like on her socials, and she's very chill. And I have to say, I mean, I've loved Australia way before then, but yeah, bro, kangaroos are dope. Let's adjust that a little bit. And I hope you guys, wherever you are in your life, whatever you're going through, whatever you're experiencing, I hope you're allowing yourself to just honor your authentic truth, just speaking your truth, your voice, wherever you find yourself, right? And trust that on this channel, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to offer that same, that same due diligence. I'm going to speak my authentic truth. I'm going to communicate this, as I strongly resonate with. Are you the main enemy of the crow? I don't know what that means, dog. I have no idea what that means. But I would say, keep the comments relevant to this domain, or else you're just going to be asked to leave. Are you the main enemy of the crow? Oh, he means the crow, like the bird? Enemy of the crow. If you're talking about birds, brother, I love crows. Actually, I connect with crows a lot. I find when I go for runs and I go in the forest, I spend time just like hanging out with crows and just like, listening to them. Crows are interesting creatures, though, I have to say. Very unique. All right, let's hook up this setup here. Looks like the guy from the movie The Crow. Right, the Johnny Depp movie. I never even thought about that. Yeah, I don't know, that went over my head. I mean, sure. I haven't seen that movie in so many years, honestly. I'm sure I look like a movie character, most definitely. I don't know. Maybe this is my sign to rewatch that movie, see what it's all about. Honestly, anything with Johnny Depp, I really love. Like 90% of what he makes, I really have deeply enjoyed. For whatever reason, he's a good actor and he's got good taste in movies. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Let's just open up synths, strings. strings, strings. No, that's not what we want. Strings, strings, strings. That's what we want. Sounds so synthetic. Oh, it's called synthetic strings, but man, I feel like that's such a powerful difference, I feel, between the organic sounds of actual instruments, like actual strings, and then just the string that they put on Ableton. Do I like Pirates of the Caribbean? Absolutely, dog. I love everything to do with Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. Google the Crow. Yeah. Yeah, I know I've seen it a long time ago. It's the one where Johnny Depp has like a hat. He's wearing a bandana. He's playing like he has like I don't even know exactly what his character is, but it's been a long time since I've seen that movie. Nature landscapes. That sounds more natural. Let me see how the sound sounds on your guys' end. See if I can kind of equalize it a little better, maybe. Let's see. Here's our sound that we're going for. Here's our sound. No, that sounds pretty balanced, I'd say. That sounds pretty balanced. Can you play Elise? Can't say I know how to play Elise. Yeah, I don't know how to perform that. The Crow is a Brandon Lee movie. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, no clue. Interesting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, naturally, respectively, this is a music channel, brother. Welcome. Welcome. And I appreciate you speaking your truth, but as it is, religious ideology, political ideology, we like to stray away from. You know, find a channel that honors that and express your truth, but this is not the place. This is not the place. Wow, there's so many beautiful nature sounds. Doesn't surprise me, but it's like, it's exciting. There's just so much like beautiful sounds of water and nature to just improvise on top of. This sounds perfect. to master the sound just a little bit more, to add some more kind of like floaty energy. That makes sense. Adjust some of that to make it sound a little more natural. A little more natural. That sounds decent. Why, thank you. Why, thank you, Lies. Appreciate that. I love hats here. We're bringing back 18th century and 80s hats, my man. Mama's lemon pound cake. Not a clue what that sounds. Yeah, not a clue what that song is. I don't know how to perform that, but that's nice. Sounds like a good, like a great recipe. I don't know. Tapping over the sound hole. I'm not quite sure I know what you mean. Do you mean striking pinch harmonics? I mean like natural harmonics. Tapping, as is like these harmonic strikes. Truthfully, that's probably the trickiest and probably the gentlest way to approach. Like these harmonics, because if you mess them up, they sound really, really jarring, very like penetrating. Unless you're referring to they look painful. I don't know. It's definitely not painful, but it requires, again, like if you mess it up, like if I were to be like, or even further, if I were to mess up the timing, it sounds like it rings out and it just sounds like a weird, I don't even know how to describe it, fret buzz / tone explosion. Yeah. That's the beauty, that's what I was kind of speaking of yesterday, is the beauty of when you're trying to create sound journeys is you're trying to make it very like meditative and effortless looking, but it's an illusion. All of it requires precision. You got to be very precise. You got to hit every part with, technique. And when you do so, it looks effortless. It feels effortless, but of course, you get in flow states. What's good? I'm good, brother. I'm good, Alessa. I'm just chilling. That is a giant flute indeed. Yeah, this baby, this thing is light actually. It's weightless. That's what's so beautiful about it. It's like made out of bamboo, so I can carry this with me everywhere. And that's honestly so beautiful about it. It's because it's weightless, the way it's crafted, right? It's easy to just slip out. You don't have to unpackage it like a normal flute. Maybe you have to piece it together or whatever. It's immediately you can just take it out, play it, and then immediately just place it back in its holster. So it's very, I don't know, it's a very well designed flute. And that's what's beautiful, I feel, is things like the pan flute. It's like a perfect example of just like a lot of instruments, like ancient engineering, where it's like clearly the pan flute is an instrument that was passed down through generations, generations and generations of perfecting an instrument, perfecting a sound, where they just really enjoyed this kind of dimension of an instrument, and then they perfected it. Like this is like a refined model of it where it's perfect. It's lightweight, it's convenient, it's difficult obviously because it's an ancient instrument. Not naturally, these were meant to take years to play. Like if these were supposed to be, they're supposed to be something that you devote years to figuring out all the nuances. If you're just that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. Now, if you're just a person in some sort of small mountain village or a mountain town, and you're just spending all the time hanging out in the mountains, I don't know, farming or something, or whatever you're doing, maybe as an ancient samurai or some sort of, I guess, farmer or hunter, then when you're sitting around and you have all this time to play a pan flute, I almost feel like, I don't know, this is just me riffing and thinking about it. It feels like this is almost like, it would almost be like some sort of, what's the word? Way to maybe like put out your, like how some people they whistle or they put out like a beckon call to their, maybe it's their friends, or it's kind of like if they're hunting on the wild, or they maybe do like a whistle or something. This, I think the pan flute, it's almost like it's a communicator. Like it lets people know that someone is near. Like it's like someone, if they're in a valley or something, it's like they're putting out a sign that's a signature sound to let people know that they're near. Whether it's like a friend or maybe it's like, I don't know, their dog or something. Or even just to nature, it's like a sacred thing. They're just like communicating with nature. It's like a communicator, which just makes sense. I mean, it's an instrument and music does that. I know a friend of mine, she pointed out that it's almost like the pan flute distinctly sounds like a prayer or a ritual. It's like the way that the sound, which makes sense. It makes sense. Whew, that was a cool riff. I gotta say, that's the thing I find universally like. I think they're known as bell harmonics, like natural harmonics that are just stricken and released in such a way. They're such a powerful and diverse um, tool, compositional tool, where it's like you can always weave them in between statements. High risk, high reward, though. That's the beauty. Is like typically there's like you can mess those up pretty easily if you're not like familiar with harmonics. But once you get the timing down, and then it's always there. Appreciate that. I appreciate that, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. Whoa, whoa. This water bottle's just flipping around and flying at me. Yeah. Thank you, thank you. I followed your advice, spending more time in silence with myself, enjoying my own company more, discovering the genuineness of my own existence. Wow. That's rad, bro. I'm trying to remember the context. I mean, I know that's a thing that sounds very in character. I speak of that often, where I feel like it's not even like it's a universal truth to myself and to yourself, to all, like to really just return to like really nurturing that love, and that portal that is your silence, that is like nothingness. That's kind of like I resonate a lot with Taoism. It's almost like, in the simplest sense, Taoism is genuinely, consistently and constantly reminding us this. It's promoting the means of like, there is the mind, then there is the no mind, there is the nothingness, there is non-action. Things that a lot of society doesn't often promote or remind us that is, valuable. No mind, non-action. You think of those things, it's like those don't really have a lot of context, but either than just simply not doing, being at peace with surrendering into nothingness. It's great though. It's great. I do not speak Spanish. I would love to learn though. I'd love to learn 1000%. And thank you. Willy Wonka. Yeah, brother. That's high praise. It's high praise. We like, I don't eat chocolate, but I mean, I drink tons of cacao. So that's insightful. It's right on character. I'm drinking cacao all day long. I mean, the hat itself, if you look closely, you see it's actually dark garnet. It's like oxblood, maroon, auburn garnet. But yeah, it's a great hat. It's a great hat. It's a one of a kind. It's a one of a kind. I've designed this. I love it. Thank you for being here, friends. Thank you for being here. I think, as I mentioned on the start of the stream, it's like, these are moments for myself, for us as people, when you let yourself intuitively, like, this is the thing, I do this for years, obviously, far before I'd ever pop on a stream. Like, when I wake up my days, I'm very apt to just like, do whatever I'm feeling intuitively attracted to. If it's like, okay, maybe some days I want to do nothing. Some days I want to just play the pan flute, for excess time, or whatever it is. It's like, it's important to honor those intuitive threads, like pull those threads, it's like, and that's kind of what these kind of streams and often are showing is, I'm just in real time, honoring that intuitive flow, whether it's just chilling with the guitar, whether some days, you know what, I'm just going to put down this acoustic guitar and just dive into an electric guitar. Hello. Yeah, well, I mean, there's always something. There's always something to question. So yeah, that's cool though. Welcome, Jen. Yes. That's so beautiful though, Lesser. Thank you for sharing that, brother. I've been continuously just really affirmed and inspired by, the few that have been like really just sharing what they've been noticing, when just being present in these streams, the things they've been sort of unpackaging, be it if it's just seeing this journey, like even if the simplest, right, you're a person that's a creator, or you desire to form a healthy, authentic, unified, empowered relationship with your phone. You know, if you're just a person that maybe desires to be a creator one day, you know, a YouTube creator or something, and you just enjoy the journey. You know, that's personally, that's for me, that is something that I found myself unconsciously and consciously inspired by and infinitely grateful for, is seeing other creators, other small creators, you know, just a guy or a person or a woman, mainly men, that are just chilling, you know, in a forest. Maybe they're chilling on a beach, just speaking their truth, you know, talking about psychedelics, like connecting with a beautiful audience. There's actually, I've spoken this a few times, and I've considered actually releasing a video talking about this exact creator. Thank you so much, though, for the compliment, Rachel, about the guitar playing. The hat is dope. The only thing needs to strap the tiger's eye. Yeah, honestly, I'm extremely open to equipping this with, like, I have actually a really awesome cloth that I purchased. It's like a fabric that I want to like customize, maybe find some trippy feather, like some kind of red feather. But yeah, long story short, Quentin Experiment. You may or may not be familiar. He's like a YouTuber from. He created content about 6 years ago. He stopped creating content actually very suddenly, and I think his story is profound. I'll be perfectly honest, because this guy, he started his YouTube about 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, when YouTube was a little bit of a different place. It was very similar, but this guy was a creator, and his entire world was a community where he basically would just go into the beach and talk about psychedelics, his experience. This was a guy that basically his background was um, a scientist. He's studying to be a scientist. Basically, he's in school for like what is it? It's chemistry. He's like advanced complex chemistry. That was his study. He was a very chill guy. You could see he was very open. He smoked lots of weed. He basically was very open. He did Adderall for most of his life as a teenager. And he was just a dude that discovered psychedelics. And he was sharing some of the most in-depth, extraordinarily well articulated trip reports, his experiences. Very transparent, very honest of, okay, I did LSD for the first time, I did magic mushrooms for the first time, XYZ, right? And I love this dude. I loved his energy. And he accumulated like, I think maybe 50, no, 100K subscribers. He blew up at some point, right? He did a thing, he just released videos. But long story short, this guy, very inspiring fellow, very intelligent young man, right? He's like, dude, that's maybe like 5 years younger than me or something. But anyway, he created videos, he created a community. His community was just all these beautiful human beings. It was like a concentrate of psychonauts, philosophers, because this guy was also very philosophical. You know, Quentin loved to just go off in these beautiful philosophical tangents. He was almost like a young Terence McKenna, truthfully. And he looked like John Legend. Like, strangely enough, he had the exact same look as John Legend. He looks like genetically. But anyway, so Quentin created this channel. And at some point in his life, he was talking about how, all right, I'm going to go and now sit with Bufo 5-MeO-DMT. He's like, I'm going to record it all. I'm going to, you know, go in depth about this experience as doing 5-MeO, doing the most powerful psychedelic in the world. And he did it. He went to this beautiful retreat, the Arcana. It's a very well-known retreat worldwide. Recorded the entire experience. He did Bufo. He showed the entire experience. He talked about his experience briefly after. And then he never released another video on YouTube again for 6 years. He popped in about 5-6 months ago saying, hey guys, I'm so happy to hear about your love for the community, and you know, I'm a father now, and etc., etc. But I honestly feel like this fellow, I just call it autocorrect the saboteur. Saboturing is everywhere, yeah. But long story short, this YouTuber has inspired me. I really loved his philosophical, you know, psychonaut-esque mentality, his embodiment. He did a beautiful job, and he would literally just go in beaches, go in forests, sometimes on the psychedelics. He did like LSD trips where he was on LSD, recording and expressing his thoughts. Just a powerful, and he was doing it all for science. Like, that was the thing. He's a scientist. He loved science. He was studying to be a chemist, and is a chemist. So was like a student and studying in labs. Brilliant dude. But then he was really for science, showcasing his experience as a psychonaut, as a dude that never did psychedelics in his entire life, and then just deep dived for like many years. So he did his 5-MeO-DMT, and then he never returned. It's almost like he actually distinctly said he did the Bufo, and as he exited this portal, he basically just said, I got the message. He just said nothing else. He was like laughing, smiling, kind of incoherent because he just did 5-MeO-DMT, but he was like, I got the message. I got the message. Everything is always going to be okay. Everything is okay. I got the message. And found that very interesting. I was like, wow, that's it. He got the message. And he released a short video after. He was speaking about how not everything is as simple as we try to make it. Almost like you could see he had a different energy, very simple. He wasn't trying to articulate, wasn't trying to intellectualize heavily this video. And yeah, then Quentin disappeared for 6 years. And I'm sure he's living a great life, more or less. He's doing his thing. But it's beautiful. It's almost like, I'll be perfectly honest, we got to see, if you're observing this fellow's journey, you get to see a very interesting, very insightful individual experience like a genuine ego death. That in some context, like ego death in the context where this was a guy that I think he really successfully embodied this dimension of what it meant to be a YouTuber. He had people validate him. He was, chasing these dopamine highs from his YouTube long formats, and who knows if he was even making money. Like, he was just doing it to build a community, he was talking about psychedelics, so it's likely he probably wouldn't get monetized, but he successfully built a beautiful community. He did something that most people desire to do, but he succeeded powerfully. But his 5-MeO DMT trip immediately showed him that he was living in a paradox. He was chasing something that was so removed maybe from his core intention or his core values. It's like a paradoxical egoic trap. He was in an egoic track. Maybe it's almost like a spiritual ego sort of, example of a trap that he was locked in, and he realized it immediately. And when the veil was shattered, he no longer desired to feed that same thing. Now, I think, honestly, as a YouTuber, a new YouTuber, as a guy that honors both YouTube and the journey of being a creator and being a person that desires an authentic experience, an intentional, authentic human experience, I find it very interesting. I find it very insightful to see this fellow's journey, and almost like it's a powerful, powerful reminder for those that are creators, those that desire to even just pull those threads one day, that we as humans are not exempt from this like egoic, validative loop that is being a YouTuber. It's almost like it takes so much ability to step outside of yourself successfully and to root yourself in a genuine intention, especially if you're a creator, especially if you're in this portal where you're receiving all this dopamine, all these metrics, all this validative whatever. And it's like, as Quentin explained in a very clear way, in time, this changes your perception, not necessarily for the better, right? If you're thinking about trying to appease other people or create content for other people, or as for Quentin, his entire channel was about doing psychedelics, going on these almost once in a lifetime, very bold, but life-changing psychedelic quests, right? And he was kind of expressing how what he was learning and unpackaging in this process of being a YouTuber, doing these conquests and showcasing a lot of how these things work, which is powerful, profound work, honestly, very valuable content. He would notice himself almost unconsciously, like, all right, well, I'm now chasing almost like the next massive burst of insight, which, if any of you are familiar with psychedelics, is like, that's like a trap when you're trying to think that you're always having to, enter the altered state. I mean, most people, fortunately, don't, I think, fall into this vice, but it's like, for Quentin, it's like he was seeing this in real time. When your mind tries to always convince yourself that you need another powerful breakthrough psychedelic conquest to find some new insight of clarity, it's almost, and weirdly enough, in a strange context, similar to what Terence McKenna did. But Terence McKenna, I think, had a very rare and unique mission. But it's like he would just basically, it's like, the quintessential thing. I think Terence McKenna said this. Or no, it was Aldous Huxley, I believe. Yeah, when you get the call, or no, yeah, when you've gotten the call, hang up the phone. Or it's like, when you've got the answer, hang up the phone. Something like that, where it's like, in the deepest right, it's like, once you've received the call, you can hang up the phone. You don't need to keep going back. You don't need to keep exploring those waters. You don't need to keep on, deep diving in these psychedelic realms in these excess ways, because that alone is problematic. If you're not integrating the experience. This applies obviously to every realm of life, but in the psychedelic realms, if you're constantly desiring to go back and achieve this next, psychedelic breakthrough or altered state of consciousness, you're missing the point. You fail to integrate the truth, the messages, which is simple, right? It's simple. It's to integrate these truths in your sober reality, so you can just live, in a higher state of vibration, if that's your path, in a sober context. You don't have to keep on chasing these psychedelic explorations. I mean, they're beautiful for what they are. They're powerful. They're life-changing. They're very valuable. But anyways, so I found that very interesting. I hope Quentin's doing well. Shout out Quentin Experiment. Love the guy. I think in the future I would love to make a video kind of addressing parts of that, because he's really inspired me as a philosopher, as a psychonaut, etc. But again, the core message of this is, it's powerful to see that we are all susceptible. We're susceptible to these egoic traps. We're susceptible to almost like the illusion of success. We think, okay, but this is success as we define it. We think we jump through these hoops, we pull these threads, and we achieve some dimension of success, but then do we realize what we're maybe sacrificing, or what we're not actually, aligning ourselves with? And then this is, I think, a very powerful message in the modern context in 2026, where a lot of us, we're so heavily addicted to our phones. We are so, incontestantly spellbound with our phones, with technology, where in many rights, the deeper connection, the deeper truth, or the deeper peace and solitude and serenity is clearly outside of this. Yeah. I'm really going to look into the Arcana Retreat. Amazing. Yeah, brother. Highly recommend, honestly. Strangely enough, it's very well researched. I mean, do excessive research, brother, to P-Dub. I mean, you seem like you're on your way, brother. You can definitely discern. I'm confident in your ability to discern. But yeah, it seems like the main facilitator, the whole retreat itself, seems to have a very, very beautiful reputation for 5-MeO. Of course, the strongest tool that you have is your individual intuitive discernment, right? Let's go on a quest. Or strum the guitar. We've already been on that quest, brother. Brother or sister, we're always returning to that quest. Real life, or is this fantasy? Okay. I don't know, bro. That's your that's on you to decide, GS. I invite you to take a moment to just breathe, breathe deeply. Just really root yourself in your breath. What are you playing exactly? Random notes? Yes, sir. It's called improv. It's called improvisation. Yes, sir. It's Arcane Coda. Arcane Coda is the creator. Would I ever collaborate with East Forest? Maybe. Yeah, yeah. He seems like a cool guy. I don't know. I imagine that's kind of part of the intention is I feel once I grow this channel to a much larger community, I 1000% I'm just gonna start reaching out to people that I feel like I resonate with. Mainly on a personal level, but of course musically, like I feel like musically I could collaborate with pretty much anyone I desire, if I feel like I've achieved some sort of platform. Thank you, brother. Tapping is magic. It's funny, I swear, this is kind of how I like to express how I explore and have explored tapping. I mean, I learned like basic legato, like basic, which is like relatively basic. But I basically learned tapping primarily as a transition. I wasn't really that focused on tapping. I was like, whoa, tapping is dope. But tapping was kind of like a means to harmonize all the other elements of how I play. Like, legatos and harmonics. It's like tapping is it's the entirety, it's the balance, it's the harmonizer. But it's obviously tapping itself is magic. The more you explore it, like when you see artists like John Gom and other phenomenal fingerstyle artists bring all these amazing, like Mike Doss too does an amazing job. And I think too, tapping, what's beautiful about tapping, it's a very like expressive, very natural thing that basically showcases your ability to navigate the fretboard. It's like if you need to understand a very fluent awareness of like certain elements of the fretboard. Like, you have to almost like be able to vertically and horizontally scale if you want to tap. Or else you just can't really do it. So basically, learning tapping kind of forced me to refine my ability to understand the fretboard in a different way. But I speak of this openly. Eventually, the key in guitar really is just eventually to learn to memorize the entire fretboard. It's very obvious, right? It's like you learn elements of the fretboard, you learn chords and shapes and structures, but the whole point of it is to learn every element of the fretboard. You know all of it, right? You understand the application, you know how to scale through it and whatever. How you get there is up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do that. It's not like anyone could say you have to start here on the first string, on the third fret or something. You want to basically learn to somehow, and it takes years obviously, but once you eventually figure it out, you're like, oh, I understand, the fretboard, and you understand key shifts and whatever. Well, yeah, there we are. Key shifts are not easy, but yeah, it's great. All this above comment wasn't me. Word. Would be a great idea. Come for the music, stay for the hat. Beautiful, beautiful. I agree with this. I mean, sure. Come for the music, stay for the hat. I'll be honest, it's the same thing how I perceive, busking half the time. Like when I was busking, often I go around, I don't even know half the time what people are intrigued by. Like the reasons that people come here or resonate with whatever I'm doing often seem to kind of just, I don't really know. It's ambiguous. It's like, especially if you're busking, like, a person could walk up to you and literally be like, wow, this person's just here. They just exist. I like their style, or I like the fact that they're here, on this day in this middle of this place. Or maybe they're having a good day or having a bad day and they just see you doing some sort of artistic thing, putting yourself out there. Or maybe they just love the unique dynamic you're doing or the music thing you're doing or something. There's this almost like, I love in the performance realms, often you don't even know half the time how much you've impacted people or why they've been impacted by you, but it's so beautiful because it's like, It's like there's a million reasons why people can resonate with you, a person who's putting themselves out there. Yes, sir, I do say things. I say things in words. Yes, sir. As long as you're doing live streams, I'll be here, brother. Well, thank you. Thank you, brother. I'm honestly, in many rights, like happily overwhelmed lately in a good way. I don't even know if overwhelmed is the word. It's like I'm astonished with just the amount of support I've been receiving. Like on the simplest, like the deepest level, it's not even about just numbers per se. It's just the sincerity. That always just blows my mind and touches me. You're lost that it takes years. You lost me that it takes years. I don't know what to say to that. I lost you and it takes years. That's a lot to unpackage, Diva. Either you're saying you don't understand, how important it is to discipline yourself, or maybe you're disagreeing. You're saying it won't take years. It should take less. But yeah, I don't know. That's the truth. Those are the facts. If you want to understand how to navigate, how to scale and improvise through the entire fretboard, it will take years. Everything that's worth doing takes time. Guitar teaches you that. It teaches you patience, teaches you perseverance. That's a core thing that you can apply to literally everything. And it should take years. If you're maybe like some sort of savant, prodigy genius, maybe it'll take less. Maybe you're a 10-year-old or 5-year-old and you're shredding through the neck. Amazing, amazing. But most people, that's not the case. But it really is like the journey itself. You realize that the product is beautiful, right? The product of being able to create music, to express yourself, that is magic. But the journey of becoming, the journey of overcoming the belief of self that doesn't believe it can apply itself, that doesn't believe it can just do, that it can just, achieve whatever it desires to achieve. That is the true magic. That's actually the best, I would say, most valuable part of learning something like the guitar, right? And that's where a lot of people maybe they fail. They begin to learn perseverance, they begin to apply themselves or navigate those waters, and maybe they're meant for something else. Obviously, guitar is not the only way to learn this. You can learn this in so many things, as you should. But it's like a thing. It's a core fundamental thing. I mean, I was fortunate. I started this when I was like 9 years old, right? I was like 9, 10. That's when I was first picking up this experience of trying to basically see through the simple mentality of being like, wait, so I'm not naturally good at anything. I don't have any natural ability to do this thing that is the guitar. I wasn't good even remotely at this instrument for about 6, 7 years. I swear, that's the actual truth. It's like I didn't actually display true competence, true ability for like 6 years. And again, I started when I was like 9, 10 years old. But this is the absolute truth. It wasn't until about year 6 and 7 that I actually saw tangible, true progress. And what I'm saying is, for all those 6, 7 years or 5, whatever, 6 years, all I knew was if I persevere, if I do not give up, what is going to happen here? That's all I was going with. As a young kid, it was like, I know that I'm not good now. I know that I don't understand. I'm flopping and failing over and over again. But I had this mentality that what is going to happen? Like what? It was raw curiosity. What will happen if I just don't give up? What will happen? It was just, that was the continuous mentality. And fast forward, yeah, like about 17 years, fast forward as a full grown adult, magical things happen when you just don't give up. So that's a core message that I love to offer is, magical things happen when you literally just endlessly desire to persevere. You learn perseverance. You you realize that you're probably not going to be naturally good at many things, if not a majority of things. That's the entire point. You have to see what it looks like to develop perseverance, to pull a thread, to pursue something with no true tangible reward until many, many years down the road. That is like infinitely valuable and applies to literally everything in life. I wonder if there's a genre for this music. Medicine for the soul. Thank you, Matsu. There is actually. I mean, the simplest way I like to explain it is probably what you're probably going to find if you search meditative sound journey or meditative sound bath. But in truth, this is the thing, and this is part of why I'm so confident and adamant to create the things that I do, is there's not a lot of like musicians in my same realm, that is guitarists, that is pan fluters at all, that do sound journeys. When you hear a lot of sound journeys, it's many talented, beautiful, beautiful human beings that often they focus, gongs and sound bowls and maybe some strings here and there, maybe some piano synths, maybe some piano, which they should. But it's not, and of course they use their voice. But there's almost like, for whatever reason, there's not a lot of like developed or advanced guitarists that create sound journeys. And that's part of what my mission, I just do this because this is for fun. This is what's been calling to me. But I've noticed this very distinctly. It's like, that's a rarity. You don't see many advanced guitarists creating sound journeys. There is a genuine necessity for this level of musicianship in the sound healing space. But other artists that I say would be similar, Porengi, Estas Ton, Wagal, all three of those artists are in the same genre, I would say. They're doing their own thing, I'm doing my own thing, but all those artists, I think, have a very similar energy and mentality about creating music. But yeah, Porangui, Porangui, Wagal, Wagal, and Estas Ton, so Estas Tonne, and East Forest. I've recently discovered East Forest, and he's like extremely similar. He's not a guitarist, from what I understand. He's more a pianist, like creator of like almost like trance-like stuff with synths, and does many beautiful things. But East Forest is actually, he's a dude that I recently just discovered because a friend of mine, she invited me to see this guy live in my city. East Forest has a very similar energy to what I do, but he's not a guitarist again. So it's in the simplest right, it's a very untapped realm that I feel really attracted to. Falcon and Bleeds possibly go different places depending on our frequency. Oh. If we're on God's frequency, we'll join him. If not, yeah. I agree with the frequency. Welcome, Jay. Always enjoyed playing music, and I want to start making music again. That's dope, Ottawa. You should do that, brother. You should 1000% do that. We all know what happens. Yes. So we all know what happens to bodies when they die, when they get sent to the morgue. What happens to the consciousness after the body dies? Where does that go? Beautiful. That's a beautiful question. Well, I think it's clear. Honestly, I think historically, if you've really been exploring altered states or being an observer of the consciousness, yes, we are, as a lot of philosophers point out, or spiritual teachers, we are the raw mode of consciousness behind this, this body, this personality, this whatever. We are not this thing. We're not our identity. We're not this narrative. We're not the mind that we think we are. We are surely a raw mode of consciousness. So in the simplest right, I think it's actually evidently clear what happens. Once our body decays, our energetic body, our raw mode of consciousness returns to wherever it came from, which in many rights, I believe, is like the energetic realm, the energetic place. Imagining, in a very tangible way, there's an energy universe, millennia, like light years away. There's a universe that we can never see and experience, but we can feel it. Nikola Tesla speaks about this, actually, this exact dimension. But the idea is the energy universe is probably where we go. It's where we will return to. Maybe if you, in some sort of magical way, are granted the ability to return back into the human realm, you'll become a human again. But none of us have the certainty that'll ever even happen. But I think it's very clear is we are just raw energy. Like energy Energy does not die. Cannot be destroyed. It is just transformed. We are energy, so we will transform into wherever this next dimension of where we, return to. Still sounds so inorganic, this sound here. I can't stay long because I have to go to bed. Fair enough, Emma. Fair enough. I imagine that's, yeah. Everyone in the world, that's the caveat for anybody that's here. There is zero expectations, zero pressure to be here. If you need to pop in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, feel free to disconnect whenever you desire. You have free autonomy, you have free will. And I actually really invite you to explore that. Listen to your body, listen to your boundaries, relation to your phone. Because this is pivotal, this is very important. I do this too. If I'm in a stream and I'm like, you know what? It's been 40 minutes or I have things to do, or, it's been an hour and I know that I need to honor my body. I need to maybe do some strength training or etc. or eat or something. I'm going to honor that. And I think this is an important reminder to return to. This is our phone. Our phone should not have almost like this, it should not dishonor our boundaries. You at any given right are allowed to turn off this phone and live in the real world. Take a breath, just be present. You're allowed to do this. And yeah, I think it's important to just remind people that. But yeah, feel free to pop in as much as you desire, Emma. Pop out whenever you desire to. It's a tough call. I've been playing guitar for years, but I just got a 4-string and a 5-string bass. Interesting. I'm still new, but I love it. Yo, that's awesome, Ottawa. Yeah, honestly, bro, I think in the world of music, guitar is like, it's a portal. It's a very complex, very high learning curve portal. It's beautiful. Once you embrace it, it's like, it's a teacher. The guitar is a teacher, right? It teaches you many, many things. But of course, whatever calls to you the most. For me, some days I'm just like, you know what? I'm not that attracted to guitar for whatever reason. Maybe I'll pick up my electric guitar. Maybe I'll play piano, for excess time. Maybe I'll just rock the pan flute. I think as a creative person, we're all obviously creatives in a context. Oh damn, my battery on my tonal amp is low. I predicted this, but yeah, in creative worlds, I speak of this openly, right? This is the thing I found myself explore a lot. Actually, right around COVID, right? When COVID happened, I had a lot of time to sort of reflect on my creative process and understand creativity as a whole. And I got to this realization where creativity is actually simple. Like really, when I look at it, even this as a young kid, I realized this unconsciously. Creativity is really simple, right? It's learning to honor what is attracting you, what is drawing you in, like what is basically creatively ripe, like what is creatively calling you in this moment. That's all creativity is, right? If you're trying to force yourself, inevitably you're trying to, almost like put a heavy pressure and expectation and like almost like strangle your creativity in some sense. That's not the way. Creativity is supposed to be a free-flowing energy. If you're like, you know what, I want to dance, I want to breathe, I want to hit a drum or, do anything, right? Creativity wants to move, it wants to circulate. And how it's going to circulate is up to you. You, at any given point, if you're not feeling attracted very simply to some specific creative dimension, you wake up and you know what? I'm not really feeling like, that sounded beautiful, but if you don't feel like doing one particular creative modality, you realize you're allowed to do anything, right? You don't have to force yourself to do something creatively. You're allowed at any given point to disconnect and re-engage in something that is creatively calling you. This is a really important thing. As I sort of like to say, it's like intuitively listening to your experience. You're intuitively listening in deeply. You're being, you know what is calling me? Like, what is attracting me? Is it going for a run and sitting in the forest and dancing or doing qigong? Is it, I don't know, going to an event or this, that, the other? Like, there's a million things that are calling you in this moment, likely. Like, if you're really intuitively tuned in and you realize, your possibilities as a person or artist, there's a million things calling you. How deeply can you listen? How deeply can you honor this intuitive flow? I suck at those tones that you were doing. I suck at those tones you're doing. Oh, those touch tones. Interesting. I'm curious what you mean by touch tones that you suck at. Like, do you mean like triads on the piano, or like, are you referring to like, you probably mean like harmonics. I imagine you probably mean harmonics. If that's, I don't know what I was doing in that moment of when you commented, but I think you mean like, because touch, if you're like doing harmonics, I'll be perfectly honest, everyone sucks at them. I was trash at harmonics. Like 9, 10 years ago, I was extremely attracted to harmonics, like slap harmonics, pinch harmonics, all those. And I realized that nobody was really doing them. Nobody was even teaching them, truthfully. Like, you hear artists like Anna McKee and John Gom and all these beautiful artists doing like beautiful compositions with little layers of harmonics, but rarely do you actually understand how they themselves learned that, and rarely do people break these things down or even specialize in them. And that's kind of what I realized. And it took me like literally like 7, 8 years to actually learn to understand how to apply harmonics everywhere on the guitar fretboard. But yeah, it's powerful. It's almost like I realized that was something that people weren't doing, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time to specialize in it because I'm really attracted to it. Yeah, eternal blessings. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, brother. Some people are able to return to their cells, back to the stem cells, to higher frequency and reached. They wouldn't die to like 900 in the Bible. Whoa. And a lot there to unpackage. I mean, yes, stem cells are extraordinary. They're powerful. They're beautiful. Whoa, we're at 1.43. Nice. We're moving up in the subscriber world. We're almost at, wow, that's cool. We're almost at 1.450. So, okay, we're about 44 subscribers away, or 54 away from 1,500. That's super dope. But yeah, to Mom, or Mona Lisa Smiles, is, I know for a fact, is like, yes, stem cells are like, are game changing. Like, they're a game changer. And I'm sure if people harness them, like biologically, maybe even energetically, they learn to influence them or somehow activate them or utilize them intelligently, it would help our life cycle. And again, pairing it with maybe like an awareness of how we can heal ourselves with our spiritual body, vibrations. I don't know about what the Bible's saying. I don't read the Bible clearly, but it's like, at least not since like a kid. But I don't know about being 900. Sounds like a bad idea. Yeah, beautiful. Peace out, Emma. Enjoy your rest. Enjoy your rest. Hope you have a nice, deep, lucid sleep. I love your perspective, man. Thank you, and thank you, Jen. Thank you for the compliment. Uh, is do 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 do. This is a little easier. This is a nice. Let's see my comment. Easier to access my comment section. But yeah, I appreciate the liking for the jacket too. I love this jacket. I love it. It's crazy. It's actually called a Titan jacket, which I found especially dope. Is I'm like really into the show Attack on Titan, so this, knowing I'm wearing a Titan jacket is like, it's just an extra plus. Plus the artist who makes these jackets, he lives in Kootenay, so he's in BC, but he's also a phenomenal human being. Him and his partner actually, they co-collaborate to create these jackets. Yeah, look like Jim Carrey in The Mask. Wow, damn, I've never gotten that, brother. Nice. I don't know what to tell you. I'll take that as a compliment, I suppose. Sweet. I only have like 91, 92. Nice, but dude, that's great though. I mean, truthfully, depending on your intentions with YouTube, you can sort of let YouTube be a dormant, you what's the word? Like a space. It can be a space that's just you utilize as casually, recreationally, hobbyist wise. I made the executive decision many years back, really just operating on about a year ago. I started this channel 8 months ago, like right on the dot, right? Maybe 8.5 now. And I've somehow gone from zero to, where I'm at now. And a lot of it's strategy. A lot of it's like free thinking. It's in the simplest right. I'll be perfectly honest. I mean, paired with powerful intention, with like, I've had a very powerful calling, but you know what? I'm desiring to live my life as a YouTuber and I'm going to succeed at this, and, you know, X, Y, Z, travel the world, blah, blah, blah. But in the simplest right, I had a strategy. I used the creative abilities that I have, the same creative abilities that I do to play guitar and whatever. And I basically just started studying, you know, marketing and networking and how to run a successful YouTube. It was literally that way. I was like, how can I go from zero knowledge of succeeding or successfully growing a YouTube channel to using my creative facilities and my, you know, intellectual facilities and dialing it in and directing it at growing a YouTube channel. And of course, naturally along the way, I was like, you know what? Whoa, streaming is a thing. And I discovered that I like to stream, and I discovered that I'm very good at, you know, performance art and guitar and whatever. And I just got better at bridging these worlds and realizing how to yeah, just pull the trigger on all these different projects. And long story short, it's like a lot of application, a lot of consistency, a lot of strategy, and a lot of studying YouTube. And then bang, so you can do that too. Is basically what I'm saying is, if you are determined, you have a powerful intention and vision, you know how to consistently show up, you know how to creatively apply yourself, it's very possible to grow YouTube channels. It's not an impossible task. Like, I'm a dude that 8 months ago, I had zero um, true experience with growing a content creator, zero experience being a streamer, zero experience with actual tangible evidence being like, oh, this is going to work. I just believed in myself. I was like, you know what? I can probably do this. And then turns out it was true. But it's deeper than that, obviously. I desire to do something, grow something very powerful, a community, a portal. I have various intentions that the more I've done this, like I pulled these threads of being a YouTuber, I realize that this vision is higher than just what I can even imagine to say it is. Like, I like to speak of this often. Sometimes when there's people that are like trolling, or people that are fragmented, they're fragmented, they're unconscious, they're compulsive, right? Maybe they're compulsively saying unhinged stuff or projecting negativity. These people are also, weirdly enough, they're also not welcome on my channel majority of the time, but these are pivotal to actually embodying, conveying a lot of what I feel is important on this channel. That is authentic communication, authentic presence, authentic communication. That's a huge part of what this channel is trying to convey. There's many different intentions, like learning to, connect with music, put out meditative sound journeys, learn to connect almost on a sacred context with music. These are parts of this. But in a deeper sense, for those that are malaligned with this channel, I set boundaries immediately. I'll often immediately dismiss them, or I'll, air out their perspectives and projections. But the idea is, what I'm simply saying is, we're in a crisis right now. Like, we're in many crises probably, but we're in a very like bizarre state of where modern society has been profoundly programmed and addicted to our phones. Of course, like dopaminergically, we're like unconsciously addicted, and it's a very problematic thing. It's huge. And as a dude who's 31, that's, lived 11, 12 years of my life, that's been able to basically step outside of the programming. I was a kid that didn't even know what a phone was until I was 11, 12. And there's many generations, the younger generations, they don't even know what that looks like, or even what that feels like. And what I'm simply saying is, it's extremely important for those that are still locked inside of the programming to experience authentic presence, authentic communication. And us as artists, maybe as free thinkers, as critical thinkers, we are the ones that have the ability to be the front lines of these movements. The Osho movement, I was referring to Osho movement. It was just a word. I was like, this is an easy thing that people can click. It was talking about moving energy, moving your body. But the movement that really is present here is that. It's the ability to reconnect with authentic presence and authentic communication. And we can see that there's a epidemic, that's more so the word, with what a lot of modern society, our younger generation, our generation, older generation, all of us, we're all living in this weird bubble, this bizarre epidemic where we don't even understand how much we've been programmed, how much we've been manipulated, away from our truth, away from the ability to think freely, away from the ability to express freely and be authentic individuals. Anyways, thank you for listening again to my TED Talk. I'm old enough to appreciate dial-up internet. That's awesome, Jay. I can appreciate. I didn't ever appreciate dial-up internet, but there was something, bro. When I was a kid, I'd play like RuneScape on a dial-up internet, And that taught you patience. That taught you how to appreciate through like delayed gratification, or more like what's it called? Like dopamine deprivation. It's like you'd appreciate, you didn't have this abundant access to what you had, so you'd appreciate those little moments when you could play on, the computer. But yeah, dog, I feel you. We're in a unique generation, bro. Like we again, I'm 31. If you're in my generation, if you're in the older generation, even if you're just slightly younger, right? We all have very specific roles, to try to help our younger generations. Like this is an inevitable truth of just being a human. But in this modern 2026 context, we're in a very unique time. We're in this technologically oversaturated revolution, if you will. And obviously, it's about to get way more sophisticated. It's about to get 1,000 times worse with AI. Hopefully, we can see some positive shifts, but this level of thinking, this type of, opening ourselves up and breaking through the programming and trying to educate and open each other's minds and consciousness, this is going to be more important now more than ever with AI. But we all know this, right? We all have an awareness of this to some degree. But yeah. It's what a time. What a time, brothers and sisters. Like, damn. What a time. I just realized I had my preamp plugged into the wrong plug. It was not making preamp sounds. But a lot of this is simple. Like, I'm loving to, I love to articulate. I love to deep dive. I love words. A lot of this is simple, right? It is simple. I play guitar. I'm a musician. I'm just trying to live with that authentic truth. If you do that, you're already on the right track. You're already on the path, right? If you are an artist or a free thinker that is able to successfully just honor your truth and embody it, you're already like a massive step there. You're a step in the right direction. At an estate sale, my 12-year-old daughter poked me and whispered, "Mom, there's a phone." Wow. Look, it's on the wall. Huh. Your 12-year-old daughter poked me and said, "There's a phone on the wall." Nice. Yeah. Televisions. Ghost slap harmonics. Let's see here. So essay sale, I'm old enough to appreciate the dial. Hell yeah, brother. Haven't seen those bells before. Nice. If you're referring to this bell, yeah, this is a Tingsha. They're not all like this, actually. This is like a very well made, like very well constructed and engineered one. So it's like a very pure sound. Yeah. I've gone a bit over a year. I posted more difficult more often. I usually hit up, list once just. That's fair. Again, Ottawa, I think the deepest part of it is like, it doesn't matter. Like, as a YouTuber, you don't need to, like, there's action phases and there's cultivation phases, right? How can I grift? What? Wow. What? Derp. All right, I think derp, you're gonna give yourself 30 minutes to think about why you're asking how you can manipulate people. I'm sure you're joking, derp. But let's not go there, friend. Thank you, Lone Buffalo. Yeah, I'm just slowly going through the comments now that I've been Sweet, a fellow Canadian. Hell yeah, brother. Ottawa, brother. But yes, let's see. Estate sale, do I believe in God? Okay. I believe in a source. I believe in a spiritual realm. I mean, depends on what you define as God. I'm not gonna sit there and what's the word? Subscribe to the ideology that a lot of people try to attach to the loaded word. The ancient, historically distorted, convoluted dimension of that. But that's the thing, is we also, just full disclosure, I don't desire to deep dive in Christian ideology. But yeah, I believe in the spiritual source. I believe in a higher realm of energy, of presence. I believe we all are in a context. Like I believe really deeply that we all are God. There's not a God. It's not like you're sitting there, you know, preaching in a sort of thing. Who knows? Like again, each to his own. But yeah, 100%. I believe an authentic connection to a spiritual context, to a divine energy, to source, if we call this. But again, the reason why I articulate this over and over again, I don't want to promote Christian, or not even Christian, religious ideology or political ideology, is because, again, people are using a lot of these loaded words with a failure to understand context. Not all of you, surely. This is also a YouTube live stream. It's about music, creative expression, XYZ. And yeah, a lot of people, they're speaking words without an actual context of how deeply contextual and how misconcepted and or preconceived all these words are. But yeah, each to his own, brother. Like I think I have this conversation with friends. I've met people on film sets and the real world. That really subscribe deeply to some sort of religious ideology, and I often return to the same thing. If your religion allows you to be a better person, like you're just like, you know what, this allows me to integrate and study this thing, these words, with an open heart, with an open mind, and allows me to be a better man or woman, a better human being, one that is compassionate, open-hearted. And if that is what this promotes, in every given right of what this is promoting, then beautiful. But if it doesn't, if there's any given point of whatever these endeavors of this religion per se is not doing that, it's not letting you just be a decent, better human being, then you need to critically question this. You need to challenge this. You need to be open-minded enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to step outside of this. I'm not going to just blindly subscribe to some ideology. But yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I like to return to with a lot of these kind of, perspectives about this, that, the other. If it's helping you be a better human being, wonderful. Are you desiring to, just be a decent human being? It doesn't matter X, Y, Z of all these different reasonings or orientations, ethnicities. If you're a phenomenal human being, if you're, striving to be a better human being, just a good, decent person, then that is beautiful. I honor that. I honor that. Just in the same right, doesn't matter what you preach or practice. If you are a garbage human being, if you're a bad human being and you're really not self-aware and you're XYZ, then that's something to reflect on. That's something that I don't honor. It's simple. But obviously, let's be real, we're all imperfect. We're all imperfect human beings. Like, none of us are meant to be, like, perfect, or, we can't just, like, objectively say that this and that, but... Ooh. Magic. Positive reinforcements. Beautiful. On the interstate, they all survived. Upgrade. Upgrade. Even telling someone they're going to be okay. Increase their survival rate. There's someone that stopped to help 5 people. Wow, and the pulls in the chest. That makes sense. Makes sense. That makes sense. The more of like having something to hold on to, someone just affirming that everything is going to be okay. It's magic. Narratives go far. Really, they do. Yeah. Welcome. Nice to see. Beautiful. You really love the ocean, Amy, it seems. I love that too. 100%, I resonate deeply with the ocean. Looks like other people are dropping in the stream space. Like on this computer. Beautiful. Yeah, I agree, Ottawa. I feel you, brother. Mm. For my name is Roxy. Interesting. So a shout out for my name is Roxy. Sure, brother. I'm not. Is that a song? I imagine. Shout out. Name is Roxy. My name is Roxy. Yeah, we're in it. We're in it somehow. The likes. Maybe it's just returning to this authentic meditative journey type thing. Really focus on creating a beautiful auditory experience, or it's just the algorithm is just flowing through as we are. Makes me happy though. You know, we're on that quest. We're on that quest of 4,000 watch hours. It makes me happy, you know, to see these efforts translate and to think that in a few weeks' time, a few short weeks, we'll be right on track. Oof. Perfection is not real, friends. Agree. Yes, music is the soul. I can't help. Desire to be less of a good person. Be nice. Being good is not being nice. Like, absolutely, being good is not synonymous with being nice, in my opinion. Being nice is obviously, it's a paradox. It's a people-pleasing complex. I am in the real time, you even see on these streams, I don't really give a fuck about being nice. I mean, I like to be professional. I love to be open-hearted. These are just things I do, but in real time, I don't ever desire to just be nice, you know. I don't try to appease, but I'm also, I don't know, I'm a dude that's an artist that, you know, I live the life I live. I really strongly believe, I understand the role in being authentic. Being authentic is not being good or bad or nice. No, it's when I mean good, I just mean be a good man, a good person, a good human, right? Good as in like, you know, for me, what it means to be a man, because I'm a man, obviously, to be a good man is a very powerful statement. It doesn't mean be a nice man. You're not trying to be a nice guy, appeasing everybody. Oh no, let's no, it's about being a good man, being a person that is rooted with what it means to be a man, a masculine, right? Or masculine energy. And as is for a woman, being a good woman, we can apply these terms in that sort of universal context. But yeah, nice is not the achievement. It's not the thing to achieve. You know, we could talk about that all day long. I love to kind of pull those threads, but I'm a guy that I've spent many years studying the people pleasing complex. You know, there's a book that I read. I've actually promoted this, you know, just no affiliation, obviously, but it's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And it's about a therapist. It's a therapist that's devoted his life work to studying something that he calls nice guy syndrome, which is the people pleasing complex universally, right? This guy's devoted his life's work. He literally studies this, written many books about this. He does concentrated control groups and all these different things, right? This guy has devoted his life's work to studying the nice guy syndrome. And in a very simple way, I could talk about this for a long time, but I'll make it very simple, is it's a paradox. It's a very, very exquisite paradox. When people try to please everybody, they end up pleasing nobody. You know, the nice guy, people-pleasing complex is a paradox. It's a paradoxical defense mechanism that we've developed as young children to try to get our needs met. And, you know, this is a core thing. This is kind of my whole point is, in the context of trying to please people, the whole point of being, like, in humans, we have needs, right? We all have needs, right? We all have needs. Physiological needs, emotional needs, various needs, right? All these needs are what we as humans have. We deserve to have these needs met, especially things like emotional safety, things like physiological safety. These are fundamental to being a human being. We deserve to have these needs met. And the people-pleasing complex, right? It's a mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. It's a paradoxical defense mechanism that we as young children often develop. In society, it's more ever present than ever. We basically create this paradox where we pretend our needs do not exist. You know, we suppress our needs, like, oh, our needs don't exist, or we convince ourselves that we don't deserve to have our needs met. It's like we're just pretending that our needs don't exist. I forget the whole parallel. But long story short, yeah, your needs matter. It's important to honor your needs. It's important to honor and realize you deserve to have your needs met. And part of actually authentically having your needs met is actually penetrating through the paradoxical conditioning that a lot of us have been conditioned to believe. You know, we basically, it's like, this is the weird part of it. And I won't go too deep in this because this is not, this is not a psychology channel. But we as humans, often we self-sabotage. This is a fundamental point of how a lot of people, operate of addiction and this and that. And we self-sabotage, right? And why are we self-sabotaging? It's because we're often feeding this unconscious belief that we do not deserve to have our needs met. So how do we reinforce this unconscious childhood trauma or pattern? Is we sabotage everything. We sabotage, with our choices, the people in our life, relationships, this, that, the other, our beliefs. This is a self-sabotaging cycle that is trying to reinforce this deep-seated belief that we don't deserve to have our needs met. And it's bizarre. It's a very complex, very rampart issue. But in the simplest right, what I'm simply saying is all you have to do in the simplest right is act a life where you see these truths. You penetrate this with realizing what it actually means to get your needs met. And often what this requires, strangely enough, is the paradox of penetrating the people-pleasing complex. That is, you have to basically realize how important it is to not give a fuck about pleasing people. In the simplest right, you got to be like, you know what, I'm willing to offend people. It's okay to be willing to offend people. It's not about desiring to offend people. It's not being an offensive person, but it's about realizing that you don't have to please everyone around you. And often when you try to please everybody, you please nobody. And as a man, this is extremely important. If a man is operating all this people-pleasing complex unconsciously through a lifetime, they're basically failing to operate and function out of this fundamental role of what it means to be a man, which is just to, engage and get things done, to engage and really just deal with things in a healthy way, even if it means engaging in discomfort. And this all goes in many different psychological directions. But I love talking about that. That's the thing that I really feel deeply is very important. These are important truths. I think another issue with my YouTube channel is I keep posting with different types of content. Yes, brother, it's Ottawa. That's exactly right. One of the most powerful things that I learned when I was studying YouTube, the Audio Valley Vibes, is yes, brother. You realize YouTube is a model of algorithm that requires specificity and specialization. This is the inevitable fact. This has been well researched, well studied. YouTube requires specificity and specialization. That means you need to be consistent to your brand. If you fail to be consistent to your brand, I've made this mistake too, brother, where you're just like jumping all over the place. You're like, you know what? I'm going to be this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this as well. I'm going to blend in this niche. I want to do that. And you don't actually realize that YouTube is now, you're sabotaging the natural course of how your algorithm operates. I'll be perfectly honest. If you look at my long format YouTube, I'm probably already still operating out of that. Now, you can transcend this. When you're early on into YouTube, specificity is everything. You need to be consistent to your brand. You need to be consistent to the target audience you're trying to develop. Once you grow a channel, when you have a subscriber base and you know your viewership, you can bend those rules a bit. But that's one of the most profound things that I remember realizing is YouTube requires specificity. The algorithm requires specificity. You need to be so specific to what content you're trying to deliver to your target audience. What is this niche? What exactly is the consistent reoccurring thing? Because this is helping the algorithm deliver you, your target audience. If you're not doing that, if you're not specific, you're basically working against the algorithm in every given right of how it operates. It's very bizarre, but YouTube is a search engine. Like, first and foremost, YouTube isn't TikTok, it's not Facebook, it's a search engine. People go on YouTube because they're specifically looking for something. They're looking for things, and YouTube literally is oriented an algorithm based off this. So specificity and specialization is everything. And I think most people that are, aspiring to be content creators, myself included, you fail to process that single element, that very important key element is you don't realize that you've probably already destroyed your channel's potential, not you, but anyone, by not honoring specificity, by not being specialized, not being specific with what kind of content you want to, consistently release. And obviously, this is not the end of the world. It's a thing you got to recognize. But a lot of people, it's like they think, oh man, I failed, or YouTube is working against me. It's like, no, you've sabotaged your algorithm by failing to understand the foundational way that YouTube operates, and that's okay. But it takes out of the box thinking, to succeed in YouTube. It really does. I think an issue is with the cowboy atmosphere. Cowboy atmosphere. Wow. I don't know if I can do cowboy atmosphere, but I'll do something, brother. Unless that's a song, but. That's kind of cowboy. It's funny. I find like genres are a thing that it really does. Thank you, Spider. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I love I love expressing with clothing. I feel like I love everything about expression. But yeah, it's funny how genres, like someone says like I would love to hear, I don't know, some Left 4 Dead, or not Left 4 Dead. I love that video game. But no, Last of Us. Like someone's like, yo, play Last of Us style stuff. It's like you're literally, in many rights, and this is what I love about music and improv, you're basically one key shift away, or one maybe like note that shifts into a different scale, into a different key, or a chord shift that is in that scale or key. You're one shift away from a completely different genre. So it's like I don't necessarily know how to play every genre in the world. I don't know how to play country very organically, or maybe like Middle Eastern Egyptian sounding music, or I don't know, whatever, you define as whatever. But musically, if you understand music, you basically can recreate or approach or lean into different genres very intuitively when you understand improv. It's really cool. I had a different channel. If I had a channel, I'd probably struggle with the same thing. So I don't have any advice. Sign language. That's cool. It's, yeah, I don't know. YouTube's a weird parallel, brother, like to Ocean. I mean, again, I'm a dude that had zero experience running any content creating channel. Um, I learned from trial and fire, or whatever it's called. Trial and error, I guess, but trial by fire, where I just went in, was like, oh, you know what? I'm determined to succeed. And from 0 to 8 months, I learned a lot. So that's why I like to, I obviously don't have all the answers. And sometimes I'll be perfectly honest, I think about this a lot. To some people, they actually just need to hear very clear, very blunt and honest, like brutally honest advice about YouTube. And it's weird because a lot of people, this is a part of the issue I think with people trying to be YouTubers. A lot of people are drowning in all this unsolicited or solicited advice where everyone's like, oh, no, you got to do this. I'm going to teach you. Oh, no, but I got the answer, the metrics, blah, blah, blah. YouTube is not that complex. It comes down to you need to consistently make high quality content that has a target audience. That's it. That is it. Everything, you can skate around those simple truths as much as you want. If you're not creating high quality content, if you're not like creating a high quality, unique, original content that has a target audience, that's not insanely oversaturated, and you're not consistently releasing and engaging the algorithm, you're going to fail. Like, bottom line. Sure, there's methods, there's strategies, but a lot of people, for whatever reason, this is just my belief, this is just my experience so far. You can luck out, you can stumble ass backwards into, little things. You can do whatever you want. Anything can happen in this world. But the bottom line for succeeding as a content creator, specifically in something as competitive as YouTube, is you got to create high quality content. You got to learn how to do that. You got to create original, high quality content that has value. And this is the key thing. Is the sad part about it is, if that's not a thing that you fit in that definition, you're like, oh, but I want to create gaming content, but I want to do this thing and I want to talk about this and I want to succeed in this. If you're not open to realizing that you need to have these things marked off, like you need to have original ideas, you be like, you know what, I desire to create original, high quality value content or valuable content that has a target audience. If those metrics are hit, then yes, success is actually inevitable. But if you don't hit those marks and you're just like almost oblivious, you're like, no, 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 but I'm going to do this, even though everyone says that's probably going to fail, it's going to fail. It's not even about like, and then sure, you can grind out, maybe it'll take you 7, 8, 9, 10 years and maybe you'll find some success, but it's, yeah, it's again, people just gotta be brutally honest with themselves sometimes. I've done this over and over again. And like, it's not from a place of like, bitterness or frustration. It's like, it's good to be brutally honest with yourself. It's good to be extremely clear with your intentions of what you know can and will succeed so you can be honest and actually align yourself with that which aligns with what you really desire to be growing and building. But anyway, that's in the longest, I still, in the simplest way, I encourage anyone, like I deeply encourage anyone who has any, even just the desire to cultivate the intention of being a creator. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to wake up tomorrow and like, all right, going from 0 to 100, I'm going to be a content creator. It takes years. It should take years of not just being a creator, but, you know, cultivating your ability to express yourself, to know what it is you love to create and bring to this world. Content creation aside, no one has to be a content creator. No one, not everyone should be, obviously. But the reality is, I highly invite people to be content creators, but it takes a vision. It takes time. It takes time to integrate yourself, to become the best version of yourself, to, you know, explore and enjoy life and just feel like you really are authentically being yourself. And this is a thing that often, again, this is maybe the invitation, is if you even have the inkling to be a content creator, it's about not trying to force the process of just being a creator for the sake of being a creator, but realizing how to cultivate and nurture a life that you love living, that is authentic, that is really just something that you love to do. And then in time, if you desire to bring that to this content platform and apply these, you know, these truths and be your most authentic self and grow something that you really feel is beautiful and passionate, then the things will align. Can you please play Dojas? I can't say I know how to perform that, friend. Can't say I do. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, again, strangely enough, like, I don't like to sugarcoat things when we're talking about YouTube because, you know, as a content creator, right? I mean, I love this. I feel extremely grateful to just even have any audience, to have the vision, to see where I'm going. You know, I'm very determined and I'm very confident in my ability to succeed in many things, but there's no benefit or value to diluting or, you know, like completely living in a delusion or distortion, especially in the world of content creation, where this is the core thing. It's almost like being a content creator. I love to sort of circle on this. There's spiritual and psychological and even philosophical truths to unpackage in being a creator. Like, this is the truth. Obviously, that applies to pretty much everything, but and the truth of it is, we all have value. You have value. Any of you watching, you have value. I have value. We all have value, right? We all have value that we offer, that we can offer each other. We have truths. We have wisdom. We have extraordinary value that each of us has by default. This is the truth. This is a core truth. But the reality is, how our value is perceived is often, this is a caveat, this is a thing that a lot of us struggle with, is we think, but I don't have value because we maybe are not having our value perceived or reflected back to us. You know, maybe we're not surrounded by community members that value us, or family or partners or whatever it is, right? On some level, you know, we've created this weird belief where we don't inherently understand how extraordinary, valuable we are as people. And strangely enough, the quest of being a content creator in many rights is actually unpackaging that. It's realizing, yes, you have value, but can you now let yourself, almost like let your ego, you know, take some bruises and step outside of this means of being like, you know, how is my value perceived? Do I care about people perceiving my value? X, Y, Z. And then eventually getting to this place where you realize, yes, you have value, but let yourself go on a quest to surround yourself with kindred individuals that can honor your value, and vice versa. And of course, this occurs and is more important in the real world. This isn't just a content creation endeavor, but it's, it's that quintessential quote. If you judge a fish by its ability to walk, the fish will live its entire life thinking it's worthless, or whatever the quote is. It's like, you can't judge a fish on how it walks, right? It's a fish. And, it's a powerful thing. It's like, our inability to perceive our value does not negate from your value. This is also a truth relating to so many things, right? Just because someone doesn't value you, you think, oh wow, I don't have value, because they don't see your value doesn't mean you don't have value, right? It's perception. You have to penetrate that deep belief of being like, just because a person doesn't perceive my value doesn't mean it negates from your inherent value. You still have that. Let's do this thing. There's so much that can go on with this thing. So much that I don't even do. That's more like less illusionary and more like crazy circus tricks. But I just love spinning this thing. It's great. Do I know the perfect circle? Can you please play Doja the Da? Do I know other languages? Does Otto know other languages? I want to learn other languages too. I gotta say, that's a random thing that I'm excited to do. Other languages seems like a fun thing. YouTube wants to control what's allowed to say and what not. That's not a function for me. Yeah? Yeah. Interesting. SDKX5JD. I mean, sure. YouTube probably wants to filter you. If you're a full-time YouTuber that's sponsored and you're making a full-time income and you're going against YouTube regulations, yeah, expect you're probably going to get demonetized. You're probably going to lose your ability. But I'm not sure if that's who you are, or if that's what, I don't know what you're trying to say. If you're trying to say some stuff that's hateful, maybe like borderline outlandish and you're just hating on people, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that is what you're doing, but I'm saying if that's the example of where a painting of what you think connected and reconnected. But I don't know, bro. I say unfiltered stuff all the time. I say it in a very articulate way, an emotionally intelligent way, where I'm not trying to sit there and say disrespectful XYZ hateful example, all day long. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to practice authentic communication while still honoring, people's ability to be respected as human beings. So I don't know. YouTube filters things, but they also don't necessarily. And I don't know. I know when I get fully monetized and I'm cashing in paychecks, I'm going to masterfully redirect things that go against YouTube's guidelines. I'm going to still express my truth. If we're going to talk about psychedelic use, XYZ, I love talking about psychedelics. I love talking about altered states of consciousness. If that's a thing that YouTube is like, hey, that's against the guidelines, you're going to get demonetized. Well, I'll redirect to metaphysical philosophy. I'll redirect to other larger realms of thought and be like, hey guys, we can't talk about shrooms on this podcast, or on this podcast, on this YouTube stream, because I'll get demonetized. I'll make it very clear. It's communication 101. I'm like, if you want to talk about shrooms and talk about your Changa experiences, DMT experience, I love talking about this stuff. Find me a Patreon, find me at Instagram Live, or whatever else it's going to be directed to. But it's about nuances, dog. Like to SD, I think you might be expressing a communication issue. You're not expressing a control suppressive nature. You're right. YouTube likes to filter things. If you're going to be projecting hateful speech, I don't think you are. I'm not going to assume that. But if that's a person that's going to do that, yes, YouTube regulation is going to be like, hey, don't do that. But I don't know, dog. I've been a streamer for 5-6 months or whatever, and I realized that, yes, you can express your truth. You can have emotionally intelligent conversations, and YouTube regulations aren't going to sit there and trigger you and censor you all day long. You can still speak your truth if you are apt enough, you're apt to articulate that successfully. I don't think you're racist, brother. I would not default into assuming you're racist, but You're human. You are human. You're human. You know, if people are trolling you, how emotionally intelligently do you respond? If a person's being like, hey man, XYZ projection, how self-aware are you to be able to professionally deal with these things? Not saying you have to, but you know, if you want to be a YouTuber and you think YouTube is trying to manipulate and control you, that's probably not the case, bro. You got to practice uh, grace. You got to practice precision of language. You got to practice communication. And it's not just you, obviously. I'm using this as a launch off point to a broader issue that, let's be real here, a lot of people suck at communicating. I say this probably twice a day, all the time. The real world, outside the real world, I say this all the time. A lot of people suck at communicating, unfortunately. Sadly, it's a product of modern 2026, you know, dopamine programming. People just suck at communicating. And that's okay. But what I'm saying is, it's painfully obvious when you see people that occur, you know, in this kind of projective realm where they're compulsively projecting negativity onto each other or onto people at random. These are people that have evidently expressed their embarrassingly low ability to communicate. Because communication is everything, friends. And this doesn't mean you got to be, you know, where's our extreme picture we can paint? It doesn't mean you got to be blah, 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 verbalizing, intellectualizing. No, it's just communication. It's about realizing how to communicate with yourself, how to hold space for yourself, how to communicate with yourself, you know, when you're alone in a forest or when you're alone in a room or in meditation, how to communicate with maybe the larger constructs of what you desire to bring into this world, right? Communication starts within yourself, I guess is what I'm saying. Can a man be a lesbian? Whoa. Wow. I don't know, Brenda. I don't even define you as a troll. You're either just too in deep in your heart, you just don't have it in you and you're just trying to be like you're low key just have good interests and intentions, or you just suck. You just suck at roasting me. But either way, it's okay, Brenda. I know you're trying. I don't know why brave or slave you're asking about some sort of gender things. That's nothing to do with this channel, brother. And I do not smoke a lot of pot. Yeah. I haven't smoked pot in 11 years. I used to love it though. Hey, bro, I used to love pot. You know, when I was like 15 to 18, 15 to 19, I'd smoke weed like 4 times a day, and I loved that shit. I loved it, but haven't smoked weed for 11 years, and I don't ever desire to again. It's cool. 3:11. Damn. Time is just not real, man. Time is just not real here. I think we're gonna have to end the stream at 2 hours because I have plans with my partner, and I gotta honor time. Alex hasn't spoken to many years. Yeah, facts. Yeah, no, I mean it's. I love it though. I love it. To Alex, heck yeah, dog. Let's go. I love to break open your model. You know, I love to crack people's models and challenge them because, yeah, I haven't smoked weed in 11 years. Like, I don't do commercial substances or any recreational substances at all. Like, I use mushrooms every once in a while, but I'm a, strangely enough, and I say this frequently, I'm a quintessential example of a sober dude. Like, quintessential. I'm like, I just, I love sobriety, brother. I somehow this breaks a lot of people's models and molds of perspectives of how the mind works and etc. But I thrive in sobriety. Like I'm thriving. I'm living like a very abundant life, and I love life. I love dancing, partying, having fun, and I'm completely sober. So it's like, it's weird. It's weird. It's very dry. It's very dry in here, and I've been speaking a million miles a minute. This is a reminder to everyone to get hydrated. Hydration, baby. Drink water. Drink lots of water. Sponsored by Planet Fitness. right? No. Yeah, I don't think they sponsor anybody. But they should. They should. Partner, damn, lucky. Yeah. I seem understanding. That's beautiful. That's a high praise. That's a high praise. Yeah. Intimacy is great. Yeah. She's pretty rad, I gotta say. And we have a lot of fun. Clear, visual, sensitive communication language. Yeah. Clear, visual, sensitive communication and language. Clear, visual, sensitive communication language. Optical, LPT, holistic services. Good words. Beautiful words. And I agree, to OTP, holistic services. It really, I mean, I speak of this openly on this channel. This is actually a core root of how this channel was birthed, and what I advocate is communication. This may not be, mind-blowing, what's the word? This is pretty obvious maybe to some. It's a thing you have to practice. It's a skill. You have to develop the ability to communicate. How do you do this, you may ask? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. You just do it. You communicate with yourself. You hold space for yourself. This is how I did this, actually, evidently, is I've told this story once or twice. I went into forests around COVID. Often this is the time when I would do a lot of magic mushrooms and go and run through forests and write lots of music all day long. That was like my go-to for many months. And I would also take my camera. I had a breakthrough where I'd take a DSLR camera and go into the forest, deep into the forests alone, and just flip on the camera and start talking. Just as I would talk right now, like I'm exercising the similar realm of communication that I would just hold space for myself. I didn't always have this ability, 1000%. Several years ago, I sucked at communicating. I mean, I still communicated, I still had some ability, I still had self-awareness, but I had very limited ability to communicate my truth, to express and verbalize what I wanted to communicate. But again, what I'm simply saying is it's a skill. Communication is a skill. You got to exercise it. And strangely enough, this extends deeper into, and I find this funny that I have to say this, and I love to articulate this, relationships is also a skill. Having a relationship, cultivating a healthy, emotionally intelligent, intimate relationship, romantic relationship, right? The art of dating, I like to say. Dating is like an art form. It's not just a thing that is just like some ambiguous thing you do and suddenly it works or doesn't. No, it's an art form. You got to get good at it. You got to develop this. You got to realize you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and learn to do this. Because again, dating is synonymous with communication. You got to learn to communicate. And yeah, you got to learn these things. You got to learn by putting yourself out there and doing it. You can't just, this is why I find it's kind of bizarre, and I don't know, not to throw salt at the modern man or woman, but it's like, I find it bizarre how some people almost like, they assume they're just gonna fall ass backwards into like some perfect relationship, and they're like, whoa, I've this, or when they don't, they're just like, damn, this world's fucked. It's like, no, you have to learn the art of dating. You have to learn this. You have to put yourself out there and learn what it looks like to actually cultivate how to be a good partner, how to go through the process of learning to navigate these social dynamics and these social waters. And again, the foundation of it is communication. If you can communicate effectively, intelligently, now this doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna, again, stumble ass backwards in the best relationship. It's like you gotta navigate those waters. You gotta learn the art of dating. And I say it again as an art because it's like an art form. It's like learning guitar. You don't just pick up the guitar for the first time and you're a masterful guitar player. You got to learn this thing. You have to. It's trial and error. You got to learn these things. And I think there's a weird fallacy that a lot of people are just like, they think that, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm just going to find the perfect partner. No, you have to become. You have to become this. You got to honor what it means to understand what you desire in a relationship, what it means to have a healthy, powerful, healthy relationship, and then you get to attract that from going out and finding that in the real world, not on dating apps. Anyways, I go off on a billion tangents, but dating apps, not the way. I know everyone might think, but what, they might work, they should work. Maybe if you have the emotional intelligence you receive in the real world, but yeah. Anyways, that's a lot of unsolicited advice. So let's return to the music. I mean, technically, it's like it's solicited to some degree if you're here, but also, don't you take all this advice with a grain of salt. Like, I'm not here to just, you know, force these things, these truths. It's just, this is my perspective. This is my perspective. Take it with a grain of salt. Be a free thinker. Think, see these things as you desire. Just bumping everything into everything. No, don't do that. Yeah. Hey, it's the philosopher with the cool hat. Nice. It's Shield of God. That's cool. It's the guy. It's that guy. Yeah. Sadly, though, I know in the next, 10 minutes, I'm probably going to have to exit the stream. As much as I'd love to stream for the next, 2-3 hours. Or 2 hours at least, it's yeah. I think it's wise. It's wise to probably organize my time effectively. Because I'm heading... Thanks for understanding my weird lingo. It's beautiful lingo. It's beautiful lingo, OTP. It's very beautiful lingo. And I'm just trying. I'm trying to... It's funny, I swear, part of this social exercise, if you will, of being a streamer is it's comprehension. It's sometimes it's easier than others. Usually it's easy as ever, but it's literally comprehension exercising. Social dynamic comprehension. How can I comprehend this with as many words, or people express in different communication styles? How can I comprehend it if I can? And it's fun. But you seem like a gem. I know you've been here before too. Yeah. Appreciate you, dog. Let's see, 45 years, peace of mind. Yeah, I'm just gonna pop on the computer because this seems like a easy way to see my comments. Yes. Brenda, partners of that. 45 years, peace of mind. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, SD. If you're referring to 45 years, eye to eye, nobody holds back what he or she thinks, whatever it's nice or not. Interesting. I mean, one-on-one, eye to eye, nobody holds back. Yes, sir, I hear you, SD. That's exactly it, bro. Real world expressions and experiences, micro expressions, eye contact, authentic communication. It's this is it. That's so much it. And the sad reality, it's no one's to blame for everyone having this weird social programming that is smartphones, that is social media, that is dating apps that are manipulating and programming and try to dilute and box this social dynamic into these weird, narrow, one-dimensional windows. That is the problem. We're surrounded, we're drowning in all this weird social programming that is basically deviating from the actual authentic interacting that we need to just be doing. We're sitting there drowning in all these webs of social programming that if the answer was so clear in front of our eyes, push yourself out of your comfort zone, go and meet people in the real world, just meet people on dance floors and beaches and gyms maybe, or wherever you are, right? That seems almost like a level of insanity to some. They're whoa, you mean I gotta actually push myself from my comfort zone? You're telling me that, if I'm sitting here beneath a screen, that's not the best method? It's yes, brother, it's not. He's trying to control us. Whoa. I think we can see through the, we can see through the words or the veils. I need to chase or fix of that. Shield of God. Yeah. This feels weird. I like to give eye contact when I'm speaking these things, but if I'm reading off a screen here, any chance to say hi is good of me. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate you here, my guy. I mean, I know you were here for a while last night. I did that, night stream that was pretty chill. Who knows, today, I think what I'll do is I'll end this stream preemptively or whatever, just in 2 hours, which has been, or the 2-hour mark, and I'll probably, I'll spend time with my partner, return home, and do a late night stream again. I don't know. We're obsessed, for lack of a better word, with getting these 4,000 watch hours. We're successfully unlocking these 4,000 watch hours. Any chance to say hi? Creativity is most communicative. Yeah. Yeah. Today, everything must be controlled. Yeah. Creativity does communicate well. That's the thing is I speak of this very openly is I have met all of my partners recently, these last like 3 years, all through dance. Voice did a weird thing there, but all through dance, yeah, all through dance, nonverbal communication. I'm also a tutter, right? I'm a dance. I do like popping, locking, liquid, tutting, animation, all these beautiful dance styles. And yeah, I love dance. I've been a part of the dance community for a long time. And yeah, creativity, nonverbal creativity, powerful modality to attract the opposite sex, like it is inevitably, especially as a man, to tap into and honor and connect with feminine energy and subtle energy bodies. Like if you can dance and really honor your dance expression and connect with women through that, it's like it's such a powerful thing. It's beautiful. It's magical. It's really, dance is just magic. I mean, I speak of this like 10 times a day. I feel this all the time. I think about this often. So grateful for dance, for movement, for expression. You know, it's a real beautiful thing. And in real time, when you see it and unlock it and feel it, it's like, it just makes life beautiful. It makes life really worth living in such a way. Yeah, my friend HRH sent me over last night. Yeah, that's a trip, man. That's a trip. Yeah, your friend HR. Your friend, yeah, the homie. Yeah, strangely, like these streams, you know, it's a YouTube stream, so a little bit unpredictable in the nature of it. You know, I'm on the path to like really creating a beautiful community, but sometimes, you know, it's like it's chaos here and there, juggling thousands of people. Some people are unhinged, but yesterday was magical. It was like, I mean, I think a lot of it is responsible to our beautiful moderators, which were just freshly hired, or just brought on board. But the idea is that, yeah, it's yesterday was just dope. Like I really like night streams. It's like, you know, 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever it was. It's like those hours are just so magical. I mean, these hours too, like I'll be honest, I like 12 o'clock, like for me, like lunchtime to like 3. That seems to be when there's like people all over the world, you know, like people from UK, people from Russia, people from India, they pop in and I'm just like, whoa, this is such a beautiful cultural shift that I really love. I'm just like, damn, like this is so cool that I have people from all over the world that I get to connect with, that I get to play music for, I get to talk to. But then, yeah, then we have the beautiful nighttime where it's like all the locals, all the homies, and people are just, you know, we're just relaxing. We're here for a meditative experience. And, like, you know, I'm appreciating putting that out there. I'm appreciating it itself. Like, I love that meditative experience myself. Get the squeak out of this chair. My air pathway was messed. Yes. If you're looking for mods in the future and she's willing, you couldn't do any better than HR. Nice. She brought me to the mod team. Beautiful. Oh, I see. I see. Interesting. Hence the boss. Oh, so it was a mod boss. I see. Informal boss, YouTube boss. That's funny. Yeah, I'll consider her, yeah. Yeah. I'm always like I'm new to the process. Like I've only been streaming for like 5.5 months and like YouTube for 8 months. So I'm like really new to these waters. I'm even the idea of just bringing people as moderators is like yeah, it's like a new foreign entity, but I'm 100% open. She seems dope, assuming I just like yeah, anyone if I have regular people, popping in, I'm familiar with their energy, they enjoy the community, they enjoy what's going on here and I enjoy their energy. It's easy. It's an easy transition. I'm like, yeah, like absolutely it would be an honor to have this person here. And yeah. I mean, for me it's funny. I even found for the first, multiple months I was very rooted to be like, as much as I want moderators and I love having them as they're present here, they're doing great. It's funny how I've been like in this place. Amy does great. I know that for a fact. I'm almost like I want to learn to practice facilitating to the best of my abilities. That is like learning how to juggle, these kind of interactions that if people are being, outlandish, abrasive, or if they're being disrespectful or hateful, they're gone immediately. But it's like I like to exercise the art of communication, and sometimes it is just a simple accountability, you know, basis. It's like, okay, goodbye. But then sometimes, you got to learn to navigate those waters. You got to learn to, be curious and open and learn to facilitate in a way that's successful for the for everyone in this YouTube sphere. Because obviously, not everyone is has aligned beliefs. Everyone's trying to just figure these things out, and yeah. But also sometimes it's simple. You're growing a community. You got an intention. You crystallize that intention. It's a reflection of what that intention is, and then bang, it's like a thing just happens. I'm interested which mods, in fashion or in modding. I'm interested which modes. I'm confused what you mean. Yeah. In fashion or in modding. I'm talking about, yeah, simply moderating a YouTube channel. Yeah. It's good though. I feel like it's surely it's an organic thing. Get the chance to check out Richard of Carver when he's live. Beautiful. Yeah, I'll give him a look right now. I imagine he's not live, but let's check out Richard. This is part of the beauty of having a computer in front of me. Richard of Carver. Ah, I like his hair. I like his flow. Okay. Cool. Okay. It's got some long formats. Okay, he's doing the guitar shorts. Okay. And then he's doing his lives. Interesting. Yeah. Reclusive artists changing his life, sharing my art, music, and love for nature. Seems like a true kindred spirit. Live streaming every night, featuring music and insights, 200 plus original songs, and written during 20 years of solitude. Wow. Interesting. Seems like an interesting dude. Huh. Yeah, I'll look into I've personally made it a thing. Like I'm sure I'll step outside of that. But I've definitely made it a thing not to consume too much YouTube. Like I don't know, maybe that's just my own limiting belief at this point, especially as a streamer where I'm using YouTube as a creator for multiple hours a day and I'm thinking and making content. I don't really consume content. Like I don't consume other streams. I don't really go on social media at all other than just to create content or maybe like, meet friends in the real world. But I don't know. it's definitely, I think there's intentions, like powerful intentions align when they align that I would love to explore with other creators, you know? Figure out to collaborate and do cool stuff. Hydration. Hydration is awesome. uh, I drink too much coffee. I need more water. Fair enough. I don't drink too much coffee, but I drink cacao and I drink lots. But yeah, coffee's pretty dope though. You can't create and consume. It's a choice. You really can't. I mean, I've never been a consumer of content. Like that's just the facts. But I've always had a deep desire to just like full dive into YouTube as a full-time creator. And that's the thing is, I love it. Like honestly, every second that I spend growing a YouTube channel is like, it's just a breath of fresh air. And especially, I'm not even in the deeper waters of YouTube. Like I'm excited, extremely excited to see how these next couple months are going to unravel as I'm, you know, drawing in sponsorships, receiving an income, opening up portals and doors into whole new things from YouTube. It's going to be great. It's, yeah. Drink water. Yes. Got to drink those beautiful waters. And yeah, hear the ocean. You're just like into the ocean. I love it. I agree with this. Let's play this beautiful ocean sound. Ocean ambience on a tropical island in Panama. Damn, Panama looks beautiful. Wow. Low key, part of what inspires me as a content creator, you know, I've spoken this many times, is like, once I'm making those full-time YouTube incomes, I'm just gonna be traveling. I'm gonna go like, you know what? Let's go to a tropical beach and sit around and, I don't know, drink pineapple juice. It's just, I have to say, I'm in love with beaches. Yeah. Luckily, coffee makes me tired, so I don't drink it. Word, word. Yeah, I'm a fan of cacao. Like, I'm just cacao all day long. If I want to get, like, wired, if I'm going to a rave, I'll drink, like, matcha or yerba mate. But I just drink cacao, because cacao, weirdly enough, it's, like, has theobromine. It's sort of stimulating, but it doesn't keep me up. It doesn't keep me up at night. It's like, I can drink cacao and take a nap, like, immediately after. It's just, it's very good. It's perfectly balanced. I feel like my adrenals are way better from drinking cacao. I get it. It can be far too easy to fall into the scrolling trap. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty fortunate that I'm pretty like self-aware, and even just like I exercise self-awareness all the time with social media. I'm talking about these things. Like I really strongly believe in setting boundaries in social media. But it also just comes down to, yeah, like consumption of like my time. I only have so much time in the day. I I love doing these streams. I love creating this YouTube business. Like this is like it's just I love this every core of my being. This is very intentional. But when I'm not using YouTube, I am chilling in the real world. I love being present in the real world. And it's yeah. I'm sure those worlds will bridge. I'll learn to find those moments where I can really connect and bridge those worlds with consuming creators I really resonate with. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll find those waters. Yeah. Facebook is that's the thing. I use Facebook probably more than any social media. Like really, it's probably the worst social media. And it's probably the first social media I've ever used. But I use social media like Facebook primarily for communication, like talking to people, finding events. The thing is, that's the one thing, I'll be perfectly honest, I've realized this over and over again. Facebook has one application that it thrives in, and that is events. Locally, like Facebook truly, like if you want to find local dance events, open mics, live music, you know, maybe ecstatic dances or sound journeys or something in your local community, Facebook has all of these things readily at your fingertips. So for me, Facebook and in the larger application, all the different weird applications, not great, but where Facebook does thrive is finding local community events, like real world events where you just go and find these incredible events that you would probably never find any other way, other than word of mouth, of course. It's like, that's the beauty. I mean, I also have networks, you know, friends of friends and friends that share events all the time that are XYZ connected to this. But for me, I could at any day of the week, you know, I could like pop on Facebook, like if it's like a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday or whatever, and I could just pop on Facebook and I guarantee I can find any like an open mic. If I want to listen to some live music, if I want to listen to some punk or want to listen to electronic music or go to an ecstatic dance or go to some sort of like cacao ceremony thing, any given day, any weekend kind of day or Friday or whatever, because of Facebook, I can just hop on there and be like, oh, word, I can go now meet new communities of people. I can go dance. I can connect. It's that is the application of Facebook, which I think rocks. And that's beyond that, not a fan. Damn, though, it's 3:40. All right, I think we're gonna make this executive decision. Yeah, and local connection, it rocks. And I think even if you're, say, a traveler, like you travel around and maybe you meet friends, you make some friends like, yo, let's get on Facebook, and then they connect you to local events in your area. I have a feeling Facebook, I'd imagine, I've never thought about this, it would help you connect to that the same way. Find local awesome events where you can meet people in your local travel community. Like, it's just, damn. Facebook, it rocks for what it is. Yeah, maybe this is your sign, Amy. I don't know. I mean, I'm sometimes like a social network for people that just don't use Facebook. I have a few friends that are just like completely adverse to Facebook, and I'm just sending them events like nonstop. I'm like, yo, this event, oh, but this a dance event, this gathering, this thing, and they're like amazing events, like incredible communities, and yeah. Yeah, but I gotta roll. I gotta head out. This is the facts. I could spend the next hour happily doing this trip. But yeah, Facebook is good for buying cheap instruments. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing, Ocean. I love Facebook Market. I love that shit. Maybe even just a little bit too much. But yo, how I got this pan flute, how I got this beautiful pan flute was Facebook Market. I've gotten so much awesome stuff off of Facebook Market. Hell, I wouldn't have gotten this if it wasn't for Facebook. I'm a Facebook ad now. Clearly, I've been sponsored by Facebook. All of this was just an illusion. I'm just a bot AI that's been planted by Facebook. No, no, we're against AI in every right. But no, but I got this off Facebook. Or not Facebook, a link to a auction, a local auction. That was a music auction through a Facebook group. Just Facebook is good for those couple little things, like Facebook markets and live events in your local area. Super dope. Anyways. Yes. Beautiful. Magic. Facebook sponsor. Yo, I would do them justice. I don't know how the hell Facebook sponsors work. I don't think I qualify yet, but I think I'd have to actually be a creator on Facebook to get sponsored by Facebook. I don't know. In the future, Facebook pays very well. Like if you're a content creator like me, you live stream, blah, 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 and you transfer an audience to Facebook and you got one, they pay very well. And I've thought about becoming a Facebook creator, maybe in the future, but I don't know about that. Anyways, all right, so here we go. Outro time. I could stick around for the last while, but I have plans that I got to commit to. But thank you so much for chiming in. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Shield of God. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, OPT. Spiritual compatibility. That's a deep one, brother. Physical experiences. I speak of that so much, OTP. I have to say, you get it, my guy. Thank you, Amy. Bless. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So, yeah, outro time. If this content resonates I'm just like choking them off. If this content resonates with you, feel free to follow this channel. I teach music and I do meditative sound journeys, among various things. Yeah, and remember to honor yourself and honor each other. Goodbye. Beautiful. Much love. Bless. Bless. Ashe.